all the projects you've done, what's the most special one for you?
It would have to be Float. It would have to be when I wrote and directed Float, the Pixar short, which featured the first Filipino characters at Disney Pixar ever in lead roles, not just background characters. I am very proud of that.
What's the feeling like whenever you create something inspired by your heritage?
Pride and responsibility, because I didn't want to embarrass my community. And I wanted to have an honest look into my lifestyle or my life. My voice and my life is different from another Filipinos. So I'm Filipino-American, and I also chose to have the characters look like myself and my son. The characters, I gave them Filipino features that, I mean, he kind of looks like me, but better looking. So I wanted to say my good looking Hollywood version animated kid. So like I gave him, to me, my features tended to be a flatter Filipino nose, big thick eyebrows. I gave him a mustache.
And the color, yeah.
I gave him, he's my color. He's brown, he's darker. And I gave him a gap because I have a gap in my teeth. And my son, he's Chinoy, he's 1/8. So he's more lighter skinned than I am. And so that shows and that reflects in his character. He has almond eyes. He's got cute button nose, and wanted to make sure that when people look up at the screen that they're like, oh, okay, they look Filipino. So I felt a responsibility there. I didn't want to shirk it and people go, oh, that just looks like a generic design. You just made them brown and that's it. We tried to go the extra mile to make the characters look as Filipino as we could with the technology that we had. And I threw in a lot of Easter eggs in there. There's PH that's written on the ceiling. My Eskrima sticks are on the table. There's also a giant fork and spoon, but it's really dark. It's in the dark hallway. If you somehow lighten it, you might see it, but the big fork and spoon is there.
Since Float is a personal story, was it hard for you because you were sharing your story to the world?
Since it was a personal story, I was opening myself up to my crew and the world, because, to be frank, autism's not really spoken about in our community, and I want to change that. I want it to be part of the conversation. And so the great thing is when I open myself up to my crew and the world, there was an authenticity that came across. There was heart, and there was it made the film more real, more heartfelt than, I don't know, probably just some comedic thing, which is fine. But I wanted to explore this topic, and I felt like, okay, Pixar is giving me this opportunity. What am I gonna say? Originally, the characters were supposed to be white. I didn't think that the audience, the mainstream audience, or I didn't think that Pixar or Disney was gonna allow me to do that. And I was surprised when they asked me to change the characters. They're like, this is your story. It should be you. The characters should be Filipino. And I ran with that because I was like, okay, you're giving me that opportunity, and I know how much that's gonna affect people down the line because it's more honest now. It's coming from a truthful place, and I am so happy and proud of it, and I love that around the world it's gotten so much love and support, and it's not just from the Filipino community, it's everywhere. So,
and a lot of people, related to your story.
Right. Because it's also, I made the story about being different. I didn't necessarily mean it to be about autism. So everybody brings their own perspective on what different is. And everyone, I think, has been there where they feel like they're the outsider and they don't belong.
Stronger Together, the GMA Pinoy TV Podcast Season 2. Now available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and the GMA Pinoy TV Facebook page.